Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Simple Suburban Living, and in this video I am going to do a canning jar inventory. So my situation is that about a month and a half ago, my husband and I moved from Colorado to California to care for my elderly mom, and we took all that we brought with us was what we could fit in a Kia Sedona. That was it. So that meant I wasn't able to take a lot of my canning jars and other things like that. And so I took what mattered to me. I took my canner and my food dehydrator, and I took as many jars as I could, but really not very many. So after I got here, I was trying to find jars, and like everybody else, I was having a hard time finding them. And, you know, I went to stores all over and the shelves were empty. So I ended up going on this site called Nextdoor, and I asked if anyone knew where I could find canning jars in this area. And, you know, people gave me tips. A lot of them I had tried, but, you know, like, oh, go to Walmart or go whatever. And I had, of course, been to those places. But a couple of people recommended, like, hardware stores or things that were locally owned that I didn't even know existed. So that was helpful. And then one person said, hey, let me check and on something. I may be able to get some for you. And come to find out, he was able to get them for me and said, you know, just said, it's my gift to you. And that's what you see on this table. These were all things that I was just given for free. I asked the guy what the deal was if someone had been canning and they got, you know, to an age where they no longer wanted to do so or were able to do so, and he confirmed that that was the case. And this person, whoever it was a friend of his, and so that's how I got all of these. So I had stuck them in the garage, and I, up to this point, haven't had time to go through and see what all I have. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I'm also going to consider what I already have, and then I'll have a total count of what I have. And the reason that I'm doing this is it's nice to know for planning purposes what I already have and what I still need to buy. And it also pertains to how many lids that I want to have on hand. I am switching over to Harvest Guard lids mostly. And so if I have enough to use in all of these, for all of these jars and the other jars that I have, then I know that technically I don't have to worry too much about lids. But without knowing how many wide mouth I have, how many regular mouth, and so on, I can't really know how many jars I should buy and have on hand. So I thought that I would do this inventory today and take you along and show you what I got for free just from the kindness of a stranger. So let's go ahead and take a look at them one box at a time. And that at the end, I'll tell you what all I got from this person, and just because it was an awesome thing. Also, I just want to mention, if you're in an area where you're having a hard time finding jars, you might want to go on Nextdoor, not expecting that someone's going to just give you a bunch of jars, because that was not expected. But people might give you some tips about, oh, I just saw them at such and such store. They had a bunch on the shelf, or, you know, that type of thing. All right, without further ado, let's get into opening up the jars, or opening up the boxes and seeing what we have. Okay, first this box. So the outside of the box said 1.5 pints, but you can see that there's 1, 2, 3 1.5 pint jars that are wide mouth. Inside of them, there are some other ones. This looks like a half pint, another half pint, and oh, that's interesting. I've never seen one that's long like that, so I think that must be a pint, but it's just narrow. I haven't seen one like that. I'll have to kind of check it out. One thing that's kind of cool is you can tell that these are, a lot of these are older jars, so I may find some interesting jars that you can't get any longer. So I'm going to say for this box, I have 3 pint and a half, 1, 2, 3, 4 half pints, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pints that are wide mouth. So I have 3 pint and a halves that are wide mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half pints that are regular mouth, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pints that are wide mouth. Okay, this box says 9 wide mouth pint jars. Let's see what's actually in there. And I think that that's correct. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's 9 wide mouth pint jars. This just says pint jars. And you can tell that some are wide mouth and some are regular mouth. It's actually easier for me to tell when I turn them upside down, or right side up rather, what they are. If they're wide mouth or if they're... I'm happy to see actually so many wide mouths because I prefer wide mouths. What I don't think I'm going to get are quarts, which I like, but that's okay. I am definitely not complaining. Okay, these are all wide mouths. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 wide mouth pints in this box. Okay, this box says miscellaneous pint jars. And it does look to me like you have some wide mouth and narrow mouth here. So this is again interesting that this is so tall and skinny, and interesting design on it. So probably, I think that these are all going to be regular mouth. Oh, that one's a wide mouth. Oh, okay, so it's turning out there's more of a variety here than I originally thought. Okay, so it turned out that there's more variety than I originally thought. So in this box, I'm going to first count the wide mouths and then the regular mouths. So wide mouths, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wide mouth pints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 regular mouth pints. And I realize I may miscount here and there, but if I at least have a general idea, I'll be happy. Okay, this says 1.5 pint jars. Let's see if that's what's actually in here. No, that is not. It is not wide. These are regular mouth, and you can see that this one's real dirty. I'm going to obviously have to wash these, but that's to be expected. So these look like all regular mouth half pints. Yeah, so let me just count how many regular mouth half pints we have here. And again, I love that the designs are different than what you sometimes get now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 regular mouth jars. It's really funny how sometimes there's almost like an optical illusion with some of these as far as if they're wide or they're narrow. But I would say 18 regular mouth half pint jars. Actually, now I'm looking at the box again. She had it right. It is half pint jars. So, not sure what I was thinking there when I first opened these, but these are half pint jars. Okay. This box has obviously seen better days. I'll probably want to get rid of it just because it's kind of moldy and stuff, and put these in another jar, or another box rather. But it says on here 1 dozen 1.5 pints, and just by eyeballing it, that's what it looks like to me. So we have 1 dozen 1.5 pint jars. Now this box says miscellaneous lids and seals. Now, I am just going to assume that these that are in Ziploc bags, if there's seals in them, the flats, I mean, I'll take a look at them, but chances are that they are already used. So I'm just going to assume that, and I'll be happily surprised if that turns out not to be the case. Okay, so now this one has a box. Actually, there's quite a few lids in here that look like they're maybe never used. This is 12 regular mouth. However, you can see that most likely they've been out in weather and stuff, and so they're a little bit marred up. I would I'm not sure if I'll be able to use these for, I'll probably have to pick through and see which ones I think that I can use and which ones I cannot use for canning. I can always use them to put on jars with dehydrated food, so not wasted either way. Here is a box of ball wide mouth 12 dome lids with white protective inner coating. That's interesting. It's interesting to see just the different way that things are named than they were, or than they are now. So that does look to me like it probably is 12 lids. Whoops. 12 lids that are in good shape. And here's another box of 12 wide mouth lids. And again, those look like they are probably in decent shape as well. So that's awesome. It's awesome to get some lids on top of everything else. Okay, now I have this box, and I have no idea if these have been used or not. It looks to me like they have not. So that may not be a full box, but it's at least a half a box of 12 lids with bands. These are regular mouth. And I'm not as concerned of knowing the number of lids that I have because, as I said, I'm switching over to the Harvest Guard lids. And so these will be nice for me to have to can some things that I may end up giving away or what have you. So no doubt I will go through all of these lids and put aside the ones that I think are in good shape and use them here and there, but I'll probably be using mostly the Harvest Guard lids, assuming that I get plenty to go with all of the jars.